Hi everybody and welcome back to my channel. It's Russell with Ink and Paper Blog. How are you doing today? Happy Thursday. Happy week is almost over. Weekend's around the corner. Can you believe that Thanksgiving is next week? I cannot believe that. It's already almost the end of November, which is just crazy to me. But I hope you guys have gotten some good reading in this week or have plans to read this weekend, and that everything is going well for you as the holiday season here begins. What am I here to do today? Today I am actually stealing an idea from Simon over at SavidgeReads. He did a video not that long ago, which I will link down below, where he talked about the books that he was looking forward to trying to read before the end of the year. And I'll be honest with you, many of them are actually on my list too. But what I wanted to do is I thought I would sort of piggyback on that and sort of give you 6 titles that I would like to read before 2018 comes to a close. And they're a little bit all over the place, the different genres, different types of books, but they're 6 novels that have been sitting on my shelf that I really want to try to get to before the year ends. So I thought I'd share it with you, and as always, hope that they make it on your TBR, or you've read them and you're going to encourage me to read them in the comments below, or we can just have a conversation about them. So I thought I would get started with the first book on that list, and that is The Emissary by Yoko Tawada. This is translated from the Japanese by Margaret Mitsutani, and this is out from New Directions, and this actually was the inaugural winner of the Translated Fiction Prize at the National Book Awards yesterday. I've had it longer than that, and I really want to read it, and so the kick in the butt was really at winning the prize. Russell, you need to get that one done. Now, this is a dystopian Japanese novel set in a time where a catastrophe has happened to Japan, and the young are really unable to physically support themselves, and the old have sort of all the energy and spirit that keeps the nation running. This is the story of a great-grandfather and the grandson and their relationship, and there's sort of a fun quote on the back that the grandfather character is full of wit and free of self-pity. And I've read the first few pages, and in the first few pages he goes to a facility where he can rent dogs to run with him, and it humorously talks about him renting different types of dogs and what it does to his running ability. So I'm really excited for this. So again, that's The Emissary by Yoko Tawada, translated from the Japanese by Margaret Mitsutani, and again, the inaugural winner of the Translated Fiction Prize over at the National Book Awards yesterday. So there you go. The next book on this list, I want to say that Lydia Kiesling was one of the 5 under 35 at the National Book Awards too. And this is for her debut novel, The Golden State. Now, this book came out this year, and when it came out, a lot of authors that I really respected were talking about it. And this is a mother-daughter travel story. So let me just sort of read to you a little bit. This is the story of Daphne and her a young mother on the edge of a breakdown as she flees the sensible but strained life in San Francisco for a fictional high desert town in Alta Vista, California with her toddler, Honey. Buckling under the weight of being a single parent, her Turkish husband is unable to return to the United States because of a click-the-mouse error. Daphne takes refuge in a mobile home left to her by her grandparents in the hopes of the quiet bringing clarity. And I know she meets some very interesting characters in this town that she travels to, and this is sort of about her and her self-identity. Everyone I know that has read this book has really, really enjoyed it, and I don't know why I haven't read it yet. I've wanted to ever since I picked it up. So that's The Golden State by Lydia Kiesling, and yeah, so there you go. The next book on the list also came out this year, but I don't know a lot about it, other than it is the sequel to The Bear and the Nightingale that came out last year by Katherine Arden, and I absolutely loved. And this is The Girl in the Tower. Now, I didn't specifically read what this one was about because I wanted to just continue the story. Now, our main character in this, what is her name again? Vassila. She, in the first book, was sort of a witch in a small town in Russia. community. Very snowy, very snowed in, secluded. And that book was very much about the Christian religion coming in and trying to sort of truncate the pagan religion of the community, and how the spirits started to get back at the community for abandoning them, and her protecting her family. It was really good. So I'm super excited to read The Girl in the Tower. It did come out this year, and I want to say the third one comes out in January or December of this year, so I better get on it. I really adore it. I've met Katherine Arden, and she is so sweet. And yeah, I can't wait to see what happens next. So this is The Girl in the Tower by Katherine Arden. Highly recommend reading The Bear and the Nightingale. And now's a good time because that book is cold. And so as we get ready for winter, you should definitely dive into that Russian fairy tale in its own right. The next book that I wanted to tell you guys about is, again, the Unsheltered by Barbara Kingsolver. I have not read anything by Barbara Kingsolver, but this is her book that came out this year. This is actually the proof copy of it that I got at BAE, so Book Expo America, and I've wanted to read it, and I've wanted to read Barbara Kingsolver. But this book, I'm just telling you, this book is heavy. In my hand, it is heavy. So I'm slightly intimidated by Unsheltered. But my friend, Emily Fine of the book Cougars, highly recommends this book, and so I really need to get onto it. This is the story of two people, really. This is Willa Knox, who lives in a house, sort of in modern time, that is going through an issue where it needs a lot of work, and it turns out that it really needs to be torn down. But she starts to do research to see whether or not she can get her home declared a historical monument so that she can get financial support in order to help to rebuild it. And in doing so, she starts to research the history of the people that lived in the house, and she runs into Thatcher Greenwood. Thatcher is a science teacher from the 1880s, I believe, and it says he had a lifelong passion for honest investigation, but he finds himself under siege in his community for telling the truth. His employer forbids him to speak of the exciting new theory recently published by Charles Dickens. So in the 1880s, he starts to talk about evolution, and as you can imagine, with the church going on, there's tension. And then this is about her, Willa, in modern times, learning about a man that lived in her house. I think that sounds fantastic. Everyone I know that has read this and read Barbara Kingsolver loves her, so I don't know why. This is one of those authors that I really can't believe I haven't read. So that's Unsheltered. It came out this year. It is out in hardback, and you guys should join me. I should read it with you guys. Come on, let's go. There you go. Two more books. This book popped up again on my radar because it was shortlisted for the Reading Women's Fiction Prize over at Kendra, I'm sorry, I'm tripping on your name. Kendra Winchester and Autumn Privet's podcast. And that is Fruit of the Drunken Tree by Ingrid Rojas Contreras. And this is a story set in, I want to say, Bogota, so Colombia. This is a story of two young sisters. They live in sort of a protected house, but they are aware of all of the atrocities that are going on outside their protective gate. Their mother hires a woman who's a live-in maid, and from the city's, I like the way that this is described, so let me do this. City's guerrilla-occupied slum. Chula makes it her mission to befriend the aloof teenager, so Chula is one of the young girls. But the maid's mysterious behavior conceals a powerful yearning. She is a young woman crumbling under the burden of providing for her family, and the riptide of first love pulls her in the opposite direction. Now, the Reading Women never lead you wrong. This is a signed copy, and look what Ingrid does. Isn't that amazing? So yeah, I haven't read a lot of books set in Colombia. I know that this has some autobiographical bits and pieces to it, and I've heard nothing but great things. And this cover, God, everything about this book. So this is Fruit of the Drunken Tree by Ingrid Rojas Contreras, and I need to get to it, clearly. There you go. Last but not least is actually the book that I think I'm going to start tonight, and that is the Europa edition of their first YA novel, A Winter's Promise, by Christelle Dabos, translated from the French by Hildegard Sorel. Now, this is the first in a 4-book series, a children's series. Now, What I know is that the world has been shattered and people live on different sort of pieces of the world that look like this. So there's kingdoms at the top. Our main character is promised in marriage to a man who lives on another, let's call them an island. I know that there's a word for them. I just don't know what that word is because I haven't read the book yet. Citadels, probably, towering cities. And she is promised to a man as sort of a political marriage. But what I've read in the first few pages is that man lives on one of these that has a poor reputation. And then sort of what happens. I know that this book is billed as this young heroine who speaks her mind and goes on this adventure. And I am super excited. A lot of people that I trust have really liked this book. You know, Mercedes over at Mercy's Musings talked very highly of it. And when it was sent to me, I thought I was going to read it immediately, and I don't know why. And it has been on a ton of bestseller lists or top books of the year list. So Europa Editions never lets me down. I cannot wait. I need to dive into it. I started it already. So this is A Winter's Promise by Christelle Dabos, translated from the French by, let me get you that name one more time, Hildegard Cyril. And it is also out right now. I have a feeling I'm going to give this to some of the YA readers in my life this year for the holiday season. So, and that cover is pretty freaking fantastic. I'm hoping I fall in love with it, and every year I get a new one, and it's like a little Christmas present to myself. So those are six books that I want to get to by the end of 2018. Are there any books that you guys have sitting there that you really want to get to before the end of the year? Are any of these books going to make that list for you? As always, thank you if you are a return subscriber. I am so happy that you guys come back. And if you are new to my channel, I hope some of these books make it onto your TBR. And until next time, as always, happy reading, and I'll talk to you later. Bye!